Okay, I'd like to call the meeting to order for the Catamount Community Forest Committee on December 14th at 5:37. And is there any public comment?
You guys okay?
Yeah, anything that's not on the agenda, and anybody on Zoom? No, doesn't look like it. Okay, and we're going to skip the approval of the October 12th minutes, since I was the only one here and we didn't meet in November.
Yeah.
I went to a meeting. Okay, so we can jump right to the agenda. So first up on the agenda is the Catamount Outdoor Family Center's invasive program, and I think, is that EQUIP? Is that what that is?
Maybe you're looking at a different agenda.
Oh, is
You're on the
that?
October date there.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh, whoops, I'll work from this.
So the,
There you
in
go.
case you don't have it,
Good.
it's the VT Fish and Wildlife
Oh.
TIC FC
Sorry.
proposal for
I was.
You're
I
like,
got the
what?
wrong. Yeah, that's right. Was that last month? Okay, sorry.
Nicole, have you got, like, are you just talking or do you have a
I've got a
presentation?
PowerPoint, but
Okay.
I can just talk if that's
Uh,
easier. I have it on a USB and I have it on
If
my.
you want to join the Zoom meeting,
Oh,
if you go to
sure.
our webpage, just Google Catamount Forest
Oh, I
Committee.
don't have internet.
Have you
Oh,
not?
you know what I can do? Can I forward you my presentation? I also have it in email.
Absolutely. Okay, so just for a correction for me, is that this is the outdoor center proposal for Vermont Fish and Wildlife Programming. Not the EQUIP.
Can you type in?
I was wondering why you were looking at me funny.
I'm like, we still have to work on that, but we haven't been working on it lately.
Well, there, it's a reminder.
Wow.
Deadline's coming up.
No, I think
He was looking at me funny too, and I told Simon I didn't have any comments. He goes, really?
Yeah.
Is that you, Tim? Are you okay?
Let's see. Oh, that's so funny why I got.
We did have a dandy ski today.
Good, thank you.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Are you grooming?
We groomed a loop on Goose Hill and got some packing done on the other side,
Oh.
mainly for fat biking and snowshoeing.
Of course, it's on.
Cause there isn't quite enough.
If I can put it on my computer.
Sure. That would be-
Velcro should have.
But
put it
great.
there.
Sorry about
With
that.
a lot of equipment.
Doing what?
Chainsaws.
Just too big. I had it on my
thought they were all
computer,
done. I
on a
thought that
USB,
came out of
on my.
And guys with
It's
chainsaws
everywhere.
and
Just
4 wheels.
kidding. I also printed out.
Driving out on
copies.
trails today.
No.
Super prepared. Got it
Oh.
everywhere.
Yeah. well,
Oh, yeah, I thought
wide
they were-
today.
Oh, because last time, before I went away.
If you wanna go.
We walked with them, they're like, everything's done, we'll never come back.
Right.
That's what she said. Like, we'll never have to come back. I was like, how long you been at this job? Like 2 years, I was like, you're back.
So Simon, you must know, you must know.
There were a bunch
No
of
one.
them working down off North Wilson Road and the patch heading towards.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great, that's it. You got it. You did it. Except all the. Maybe the photos won't show up, but that's all right. Okay. I can get us started if you'd like. So the Catamount Outdoor Family Center's mission is to promote family and community well-being through activity and education in the Catamount Community Forest. And our conservation easement does allow for hunting, fishing, and trapping under the permitted uses section. As you go through some of our other foundational documents, it says that the main reason why hunting, fishing, and trapping is not allowed at the center is public perception and safety risk. And so we're asking for permission to host fish and wildlife seminars as well as certification courses, education and certification courses on site. To be clear, we're not asking for permission to hunt or fish or trap on the land, but we want to be able to talk to people about wildlife management and what that means. Hunter education incorporates ecology, biology, forestry, conservation. You learn about natural communities and history, population dynamics, wildlife disease, teaches land ethics, species ID, tracking, food chain and consumerism knowledge, leave no trace principles, wilderness survival, outdoor skills, first aid, risk analysis, and more. And Nicole's here to talk a little bit more about the program, its history, and its safety measures. So thanks. I'm Nicole Meyer. I work for the Vermont Fish and Wildlife Department, and I run our hunter education program for the state of Vermont. I'm sorry, I'm gonna ask you to, do you want me to come sit over there so I can do it
Yeah,
myself?
sure.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
I feel very weird about slide. So a quick overview.
Simon's very helpful.
I'm sure, but I'm the guest. I don't want to be imposing. I'm just gonna go through basically who, what, where, when, why, and how of our program here. First of all, why do we have mandatory hunter education? The number one reason is because it's publicly mandated, and it's been publicly mandated since around the late 1940s. Anyone know what was happening in the late 1940s? Nationally? Folks were coming back from World War II. And there was an unprecedented amount of firearms in folks' hand that they had not been properly trained to use for hunting. They had been trained to use them in a very different way. When we're using firearms for hunting, we're not using them as a weapon to hurt people. We're using them as a tool to harvest our food. We're using bows as an implement to harvest our food. Right now, bow season's just about over tomorrow. And the first mandatory hunter education course happened in the state of New York. In 1975, Vermont's hunter education law went into effect, and we were averaging around 30 hunting-related shooting incidents per year in the 1950s. And since our hunter education law went into effect, we've seen a precipitous decline in hunting-related shooting incidents. And we've had numerous recent years, 3 times in the last 10 years, Vermont has been free of hunting-related shooting incidents. And when you consider that there are about 80 to 85,000 people in the woods each year hunting, that's great. Of course, we want no incidents to ever happen, but we currently average around 2 to 3 hunting-related shootings per year, and the vast majority of these are folks shooting themselves in the foot with their own gun, which is unacceptable. But generally, we're seeing that what the unsafe things that are happening are usually, by and large, around complacency with a firearm. Our mission with the hunter education program is, number one, to create safe, knowledgeable, and responsible hunters, to build support for hunting, trapping, and outdoor pursuits, to develop meaningful outreach programs and community relationships like with Catamount, and to support shooting ranges for hunter skill development. We want to make sure that there is not complacency with firearm safety, and so we support skill development at all stages of a hunter's life cycle. Just want to give a shout out real quick to our 4 staff members statewide that work on hunter education. And although there's only 4 of us, we certify around 5,000 students each year, which is kind of crazy. Our courses are taught by around 350 volunteer instructors who are generally seasoned hunters themselves. They're not paid by us. They do this because they believe in passing on the tradition of safe, ethical, knowledgeable, and lawful hunting. And to become a volunteer instructor, you have to undergo a background check, do fingerprinting, have no violations, do a training with us, then do a training with lead instructors, and do apprentice teaching before becoming fully certified. This part, I guess, isn't super relevant to what we're talking about for Catamount, because probably Amanda would be the one teaching the course. And I think if you know Amanda, you know that she is an amazing teacher and extremely thorough and safe and ethical and knowledgeable, and we all trust her. But we would be certainly lending any volunteer instructors to her if she needed. In general, what we do at the hunter education program, our main mission is those certification classes that I talked about: hunter education certification, bow hunter education, and trapper education certification. Those are all required
to be taken before you actually purchase a hunting, trapping, or bow hunting license, no matter your age. We also do a lot of mentoring in our Learn to Hunt program, specifically for new adult hunters, to get them some mentorship and some positive reinforcement around learning to hunt. We also run our Green Mountain Conservation Camps. We run our Vermont Wild Kitchen program, which is a way that we connect local cultivated food with local wild food, whether it be venison, duck, mushrooms. We're melding those things together to remind folks that wild food is local food, just as much as a zucchini that you bought from the co-op is, right? And like I said, our programs reach around 5,000 Vermonters each year. Where we teach, currently, we teach all over the state. We teach at schools, both during and after schools. As you may know, there's a federal law stating that firearms shall not be prohibited on school properties. However, we are able to work with schools to, I don't want to say get around that, because we're certainly not getting around that. What we're doing is we're bringing these non-functioning firearms to the class. Here they are right here. These bright orange guns are not true guns. They won't fire if you put a round of ammunition in them. But the wonderful thing about them is that they are the same weight, the same action type, the same operated the same exact way that a real live firearm would, so that students, when they come upon a firearm, whether they intend to hunt or never intend to hunt, they'll know what that firearm feels like. We'll train them to keep their finger off the trigger. We train them to keep that muzzle pointed in a safe direction at all times. We teach them those 4 main rules of firearm safety. We use those a lot at schools. We do fire BB guns at schools a lot of the times. We don't fire them at schools. We fire them on school grounds. So that is another way that we offer that live fire training to students. We also use simulated live fire, or a lot of times we take kids out onto the range, and I'm getting ahead of myself already, so I apologize, but we do teach our programs at schools. Most recently, Champlain Valley Union, which is right around the corner here, we actually have been working with Champlain Valley Union with their shotgun club that they recently established. And we do a hunter education course there in school during school hours each year. We also have worked with Burlington High School, Stowe Middle High School, U32, and many other, more than I can list here. We also teach at libraries. Fish and game clubs are one of the most popular places that we teach at. We're actually working with Williston Rec Center right now to put on a course this fall at Williston Rec. Many parks, state parks, county parks, and we offer classes in every county in the state. Oops. Anyone is able to take our in-person class of any ability level, age, residency, status, whatever, and we always make accommodations for students that need it. Just so that you know, the vast majority of our lessons that we teach are really, really hands-on. We also do reading and writing, incorporate reading and writing through our required homework ahead of time. We also have many class discussions, so we're trying to hit all the different learning styles that we possibly can. We do require live fire or simulated live fire in order for a student to be certified. And we'll talk about ways that we can do that at Catamount. We also do a practical course. This is our woods walk, which is, in my opinion, one of the most important and foundational pieces of the class, where we take students through the woods, set up fake hunting scenarios that you may actually see in the woods, and talk to them about the ethics, the legality, and the safety around those scenarios. We also, of course, stress firearms handling. That's a required 6 hours of our 12-hour course. And the main focus and the things that we come back to all the time are, is it safe, is it legal, and is it ethical? Those are the 3 most important questions for us. Students are evaluated based on three main criteria: our 50-question multiple choice exam, their class maturity. You know, I have failed kids for acting very immature with guns. I've passed more young kids than I have 13, 14-year-olds who are acting like little turds. Because they're not showing me maturity, and so I will not pass you. And then another really important one that is difficult to quantify and maybe some subjective sometimes, 2 and 3 are rather subjective, are practical firearms handling that we see during the class. And again, these are some of the, so this is some of the gear that we use in our classes. All of it is, I think on the next slide. Oh, why did I do that? That's weird. And the best thing about our program is that it is free for you to administer because we're funded through the Federal Aid and Wildlife Restoration Act, the Pittman-Robertson Act of 1937. All of our funding is matched by our volunteer hours. So all of the gear, all of the staff time, everything would be free to you and the students. And that's it. I also brought a ton of freebies. I'm not trying to brag anyone here. I'm a state employee. I brought a bunch of our class materials so that you can see what we're teaching. I brought manuals, workbooks, our law digest, track ID cards, pens, and yeah. Oh, sorry. I'm
Yeah, it's just John.
great. So that's it. I wonder if you all have any questions for me, thoughts, comments, concerns.
And if there's any questions about how this would be specific to Catamount, John and I can help address those as well.
Is there a particular reason you want to do this at Catamount, or is it like it's high profile, or it's just a good place to do it, or?
No, well, to be perfectly honest, I love Amanda.
Yeah.
They've worked together.
Amanda used to work for me,
Yeah.
in Hunter Ed years ago. And I do also think that Williston and the Chittenden County area in general is a really important area to address as we are seeing more in the news and here in Vermont about things that are happening with firearms, really negative things happening with firearms, whether it's hunter education or something else. I think it's really important to show students how to safely handle a firearm, and that's one of our big focuses in our classes, how to safely handle a firearm, and to debunk and demystify some things. And then also because this is a really great space. I was able to tour Catamount for the first time. I look forward to bringing my 4-year-old there for a sledding party this winter. And I think that this could be a really great resource for the town. And from the response that we've gotten at CVU High School about the Hunter Ed courses that we teach there, it seems like there's a hunger for more of that probably within the wider community. I don't know if you want to speak to that too.
Yeah, I think that just bringing these classes to more population centers is also really helpful. A lot of them are taught in very like rural fish and game club settings. And so to provide the Chittenden County area with this venue and this certification, I think would be providing access to people that maybe don't have it.
And Williston does have plenty of working landscape, right? And I think the working landscape means a lot of different things to a lot of different people. And to some people that means timber harvest, it means farming, it means sledding, maybe, working landscape, and to
That's
some
recreation, that's part of the work.
exactly, there you go. And to some it means hunting and fishing, and it's Williston is such an interesting area too, because I think there's so much intersection of all of those different communities and recreation types. I think it's a real opportunity for a lot of folks to come together around this at an established place, maybe where skiers are already coming, and then we bring hunters in to see what Catamount's all about, and maybe some cross pollination, I don't know, and then we all hold hands and play in the snow together. That's what it'll be, right? Yeah.
You know, but I think, you know, there is a great opportunity for education and for, you know, having these programs at the center. It fits within our mission. There also is the understanding that we have too many deer on the property, and that there might be a way, this might be a start of a conversation about, how that might be managed. And, you know, we're not suggesting or, you know, saying that we want hunting at Catamount yet. But I think this is a way to start that conversation and how that might look. You know, certainly, managing recreation, we would shy away from guns maybe, but a bow season at Catamount might be the appropriate way to manage the deer. And this is, I think, a way to at least, you know, start that discussion and provide a way that people can learn about it rather than, you know, just have their feelings and, you know, sort of be like, no, that's, you know, that's not for us. So there's a way to sort of start that.
And I know that there was some concerns around hosting these courses at Catamount and people just assuming that because we teach certification courses there, that it is a venue to hunt at. And I would counter that it wouldn't do that. I think more so it provides us an opportunity to have those conversations, to lay out resources, to find places that you can hunt, and it crosses different user groups and demographics. So I think that we're disseminating that information a lot more efficiently than if we were to just answer a call like, hey, can I come hunt there? No hunting. We're actually having conversations around it and digging into it more.
So I see Reed has his hand up. Go ahead, Reed.
Yeah, so I think the program you're putting together it looks tremendous. And as somebody who has lived in rural parts of Vermont, you don't have the same hunting season interaction here in Chittenden County for the most part. You don't see everybody on the first day of hunting, deer hunting with pickup trucks running around in the deer hunting stations, and you certainly don't see it that much, especially in Williston or South Burlington or Burlington. And I think that's an interesting way to introduce people to hunting. Having lived in Orange County and Washington County, it was very different than up in this area. So I'd be very supportive of this type of education program.
So I have a question on, so you talked about in one of the slides that it's required to have either, I can't remember the word, active or simulated active shooting.
Yeah.
So the and BB guns, so.
Yeah, the BB guns, so it all depends on, and I believe there is a shooting ordinance in the town of Williston, is that
Yeah, but
correct? There is.
That's Catamount's
Top
not.
firearms discharge area is restricted on, I think it's one of the parcels, either north or south of the road is in it and the other's not.
So one of the ways that we could get around that, live fire, not get around the live fire requirement, but make sure that we get to the live fire requirement is either in the place where it's okay to discharge, we could discharge BB guns, which don't shoot nearly as far as a shotgun or a rifle, which counts toward your live fire requirement. We could also do a simulated live fire, which I don't love, but it's a great option for schools, which is a laser simulation, where you have like a fake, again, you would never treat it as a fake gun, you would treat it as the real thing. And you point the laser to a screen, it's like a more sophisticated and ethical version of Big Buck Hunter. I don't love that because I can equate it to Big Buck Hunter, but we can use that. But then the other resource that we also have at our disposal is North Country Sportsman's Club in Williston is a great shooting club and pretty close to Catamount Outdoor Center. So we could have everything but the live fire at Catamount and then bring folks to North Country Sportsman's Club in Williston and do our live fire portion there and end the day there.
I think it's a great idea to have, to get a different group of people to Catamount and get them there and see the property and be able to participate in that, in the program. And I was on the very first committee that worked on getting Catamount to be purchased by the town. And there was a fairly large group of people that were opposed to hunting. And I think they were really concerned about live fire, gun shooting. But the bow season, archery, yeah, definitely would be kind of an area. So where would you kind of hold the program on the property? What area would be best suited?
I think the indoor space is, that we would use for that portion, and then, I don't know, Goose Hill has has a pretty big hill behind it, so, there's a place where you could shoot and not, we wouldn't go any further than the hill.
Right.
And with a BB gun, I think we're relatively safe there. There are other places too that we could go,
We would close trails around them.
And you would close the trails,
we
right?
could, yeah, and the other, there's also the quarry that's right next to us that we could walk into. Where did they shoot, and we would have to,
Yeah.
get permission to do that, but we hear live fire over there regularly. So, that is a potential. I just apologize for not knowing the answer to this question too, but, could we do, hunter safety, bow only courses, or is that not how that works?
You could, the only drawback of that is
Less
in order to get your archery tags, you must first have the basic firearm hunter education.
Okay.
So, you could just host the bow course and that's fine, but you might be, there might be a group of folks that get confused about that, or we could do, the combination bow hunter course, which is, it's just taught over the course of a day and a half rather than just one day. But then they get certified in both and they're able to buy their, license and their archery tags. So that's a viable option as well. And if we go about it that way, I have large archery nets that I can bring. We'd have to find a way to rig them up, in a field or something like that. If you wanted to do that, that would be fine.
And I'm not opposed, I was for hunting on the committee, so I was unhappy when they decided not to have, because the deer population is pretty heavy over there, and they've done a lot of browsing, and, just working with Ethan, it's points it out, and they definitely need to be thin, but no, I think would be a great asset to have that available for folks in Williston, so.
And if you wanted to just host the bow hunter part of the course, or just the bow hunter course itself, we do now have an online certification option for basic hunter education and bow hunter education, for Vermont residents 18 and older only. Personally, I think the experiential learning is leaps and bounds better, but with COVID, we had to try to be more accessible to folks. That's kind of when that all started.
So Jim and Lucy, how did you allow hunting on the land when you were running the outdoor center? How did that work?
Trails were pretty much closed, like, during the whole hunting season time. For most of that, I think, and then you gave permission to only very few people.
Yeah, the operation was quite different because of the weather. So we weren't open in what we would call the fall mud season anyway, because of damage to the trails. So, and we're primarily talking about deer hunting. And so I did make it known in the community that we would permit firearms hunting, but they needed to come, fill out a card, name, address, contact information, and the vehicle they'd be driving when they came, and they would have to park in the parking lot. So we'd know that red Toyota pickup belonged to Billy Bob, and we had maybe a dozen people only.
Yeah.
Maybe, that is our largest
Three
number,
or four maybe.
oftentimes, yeah. And there was an understanding that if we did get snow, so that we could do slippery grass skiing, for instance, they couldn't be on the south side of the road, they had to stay on the north side of the road. And they knew why, and, we're very respectful of that.
Great, thanks, I was just curious.
Yeah.
Okay, any more questions or comments? You good, Reed?
Yes, I am. Thank you. Very informative. Thank you very much.
Thanks for your time.
Great.
Thank you for coming.
That's some great feedback. I think the sort of manager was interested in people's feedback, from the committee. I think if we're gonna take it forward, we should probably just wanna set something up with maybe the abutters to let them know what's going on, and to get out ahead of that. So that would be my suggestion. Maybe we could, do a mail out to everyone who lives next door, tell them we're thinking about doing this. I mean, just seeing that image of the guns already makes me feel better because they're bright orange. So that should be less alarming for people. Would that work for people? We can do that in the next meeting.
Yeah, the one thing I would note is that when Nicole and I discussed implementing programs, there's a significant delay just with the seasons and the timing of stuff, so realistically, we're probably not looking at hosting a certification course until the spring, is that what we landed on?
Yeah, probably.
Probably
not
like April.
Yeah, April-ish, yeah.
Unless we were to go more food seminar,
Yeah.
so we do have a big buffer of time, with this hunting season wrapping up.
Okay.
Yeah, lots of time, and we could wait till next fall too, if we wanted to.
And do you know what your, like, what the general user feedback from the members would be?
I did include a question about it in our, trail survey that we've had sent out. I changed it to like a trail and programming survey and asked, and it was, I don't recall off the top of my head. I want to say we got maybe like 5 responses. 3 were neutral, 1 was really against it, and 1 was for it. So.
Sounds like
That is neutral.
Yeah. And I think more like, maybe I might have put the neutral one, I filled it out. Cause I just didn't know, I didn't know any information about it.
Well,
So,
it's funny because something like 5% of the public is strongly in support of hunting. 5% is like strongly against, and then the rest is totally neutral, so that bell curve, just like what you said, it kind of works, yeah.
Yeah, but I think the abutter sounds great.
Yeah.
We can work on that. And,
Okay.
I'll just share too, like I grew up working at the camp that Nicole mentioned, and I took hunter education there, and although I'm not a hunter today, I do attribute that to my passion for the outdoors and kind of the life path that I took. So I think that this is something that could do that for others at Catamount, which I really like.
So sweet. I am gonna leave you with a bunch of materials, if that's okay, like the workbooks and manuals and stuff like that for the class. So if you do get someone interested, feel free to pass it out.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much for your time. I so appreciate it.
Thank you very
And
much.
I didn't wear green. Did you notice? The last time I was head to toe in green, and today I'm not wearing, I'm barely wearing a spec.
I'd like to think you wear that. Is that the uniform?
Oh, boy.
Even back here.
Oh, yeah, you wouldn't be able to go far with that.
Yeah.
So Nicole, the 85,000 hunters.
Yeah.
What year is that data from?
80,000 is this year, or was 2022.
Yeah,
8590 was like that bump that we had during COVID around 2020, 2021. Yeah,
There was a big
Those are
bump
licenses
during that,
sold.
no?
those are licenses sold, but also taking into account permanent license holders and lifetime license holders. So yeah, so that's a general really good estimate of just about how many users were actually out there.
Thank you.
You got it. Thank you. Do you want this? I printed out a few copies. That's my presentation. If anyone wants to take it home, I printed out 3 copies. If you're so impassioned and enthralled by my. Well, thank you very much. Thank you guys. Have a happy holiday season. Tonight's the last night of Hanukkah and Christmas is coming right up.
Yeah, all sorts of.
Solstice.
It's
Enjoy.
all happening soon.
Yeah.
Shortest day of the year is coming up really quick.
Can't come soon enough so they can get those days longer again, right?
That's right,
Bye.
thank you so
Bye.
much. So we don't need to vote on anything, just,
No,
There's a
no, we were just
presentation,
after
yeah.
feedback, really.
okay. All right, so moving on to the next item on the agenda was the outdoor center trails master plan. John.
So we have been, working with the board and the Trails Committee, to review the network, with an eye to, improve, connectivity, accessibility, sustainability, and navigation. It's kind of, as our, sort of broad, bounds of what we're working on. We have scheduled 3 public meetings in the winter, that we would love, for the CCF folks to participate in if you'd like. We're happy to schedule a meeting, a special one with you guys too, if you'd rather it be just you talking to us about, your feelings and thoughts about, trail changes and things like that. Or, those 3 dates this winter are available to come and, participate with the public too.
Yeah.
So those are on our calendar, I believe, and we can share them with you. The first one is the 9th of January, and then it kind of goes so it's the first Tuesday of the month for January, February, March. To give you guys a sort of a sneak preview of the stuff that we're talking about, in terms of what we are hoping to accomplish. One of the overarching things is that we want to drain and harden enough of the network that we don't have to close significant portions during really wet times, and that we can groom more efficiently in the winter, because we often are going through water and we either the snow melts or we create ice. So there's it isn't just about summer and it isn't just about winter. This is really a year-round thing. It's to reduce our impacts on the land too. We haven't been able to do any drainage work for 4 years. So, we have some places that we feel are super important. We've identified, for this coming year, a project which really was the project that we identified this year, but didn't get, our permits for. And that was, Elbow, Balsams, and Three Rivers. And
So you didn't get.
we didn't get permits, because, so we started the permit process for these 3 trails. You remember now, so
Yes,
yeah,
they want a master.
Yeah, they wanted a large plan. So we got to the point in the summer where we knew that we weren't gonna get a small one done this year, and it didn't make sense to just put in a permit to get a permit.
Mhm.
So we pulled back and said, okay, we're gonna do the full one, but it's gonna take more time. So we're in the process of that too. So these are kind of concurrent, in terms of, we wanna have that planning done, with the public, and then present the Act 250 permit, as a network-wide change. Those sort of overarching goals that we're talking about are hardening certain trails, of those trails that, that we've currently identified as ones that we think are important to do that too, are cliffs. The aforementioned 3 trails that we just talked about, as super important ways into the network. And then, some of the other, important ones, that we want to do are a gentle and friendly way up to the lookout and a gentle and friendly way down. We've gone out and looked at potential routes. That initial route, though, of leaving the parking lot on Elbow, Balsams, Three Rivers is one side of that loop, or at least one quarter of that loop, to kind of get you halfway up the hill. So far, this is, where we're moving towards in our thoughts. And then as a way down, we've also talked about, adjusting Bear Run and making that more of an intermediate trail. So that you would come down on the backside and then come back up and through and then down the power line and out, out to the trailhead again. So that would be that core way up and down from the lookout. We've also looked a lot at the intersections and which ones are most clustered and challenging to navigate. And are looking to shift some of the trails that are there so that the intersections have less spokes coming off of them. And that we don't have an intersection and then another intersection and then another intersection. So there are several spots throughout the network that we've looked at and been like, okay, if we move this one over to here and we eliminate this little piece here, then the trails start to make more sense. So little adjustments like that, to make the navigation and to, some of these trails some of them are so close together and feel a little bit maybe redundant in spots. So that's another spot where we might adjust. There's also been, some more learning in terms of the pitches that we might want to maintain over time. And there are a couple that are pretty steep that we might also adjust and close those deeper ones.
So do you think there would be a decrease or increase on the amount of mileage? Trails?
I think that, according to the easement, we're not allowed to add a ton.
Right.
But I think, if we adjust, the way that we're thinking of, there probably will be a small net gain.
Mhm.
But it will have a network that will be much more easily maintained, less impactful on the land itself, more easily used by a wider range of people, and more useful in all the seasons.
And so it'll be great, 3 meetings for the public and get some input from
And
folks.
we have an online survey that we've been doing for the last month or so too, that we've been promoting, to let people, give feedback that way if they can't come to the meetings or, so.
Now, are the meetings Zoom or do you hold?
We
them
can do
at-
that too, we could have a Zoom.
Or do you usually hold them at?
We'll hold them
the
at Catamount,
outdoor center?
yeah. We have to turn the heat up a little bit, but.
It's not well insulated. Yeah.
It's cool in there, but, and if we get too many people, maybe the second one will move to, maybe we'll ask if we can hold it here.
Sure.
I mean, that room's pretty big.
It is.
Upstairs, yeah.
Yeah.
You can
You
actually
do it 3
request,
times.
you can request to use rooms in there's like 5 different rooms in the
Uh,
town, like the firehouse here, the police station.
You can't use the police station anymore.
Oh, really?
I don't like people using their rooms. You can use it here. Tuesdays are not good for using the meeting room because it's select board or DRB.
Firehouse, I think the firehouse, I don't know how big that is, but.
You've got the rec building out in Taft Corners too, the one Parks and Rec has.
Yeah, I wouldn't
Oh.
advise that. We
Wow.
have DRB in there.
We have a couple other spots too,
Yeah.
some of our business partners have offered their, their big meeting room, so.
Oh, good, yeah.
If for some reason the lodge doesn't work, we have options, but that's our first goal is to put there.
Good. Okay. Okay.
Any questions
more-
No, I mean, we've been, critically looking at the network and trying to understand, why pieces are where they are and if they are better off changing or staying the same. And, where are we gonna stage our efforts so that they make sense, long term? And then, you know, obviously the fundraising piece is part of it, but that's
Right.
sort of the further piece.
And at these meetings, the public meetings you'll have a map of the whole area so people can see, because, I mean, I know it fairly, you know, not all the trails. but-
Yeah. I actually signed into the meeting so I could put this up on the screen, but we don't, I mean, if you're,
Yeah.
you know. you
No,
know
that's
pretty
okay.
well.
You're just in the beginning parts of it anyway, so.
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
okay. Reed, do you have any comments or?
No, overall, I think that's a great idea, especially improving, navigation, getting rid of some small spurs that, I get lost over there. So it's
Most people
as an
do.
occasional user, and we've heard that from other people, there's the big broad trails that are easily navigated, but then, and improving some way to get up to the lookout. When I skied many, many years ago when Jim and Lucy owned it, I could do that one. I don't go up there except when I'm hiking. Now I don't ski up there, so.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that sounds like a great, and that's, and there is the ARPA money, wasn't that one of the requests? If there was ARPA money available?
Yeah, there's a couple, I don't think we got any of our requests.
Oh, they've already decided? Oh, we didn't get any?
No.
Oh, well.
So who decides, ARPA or the select board?
The select board.
Yeah.
Okay,
Oh,
so we need to do a lot more lobbying then.
But presumably, like, this is like this is a 5-10 year plan. You're not gonna have all the money to do all this at once.
No, and I mean, we're trying to raise money just for that first, the first 3 trails, and that, I put together the budget, we're talking 170,000, for those 3 trails. So, I mean, we're talking, well over 1 million when we get done, if not over 2. So it's gonna take 10 years to raise that kind of money at least. And,
Okay.
the plan itself is a permit that we're trying to get that will allow us to then raise the money and do the work.
Right, that's what we talked about, once you've got the permit, doors start opening.
Right.
Right.
And the fact that we're going into this, for, Act 250 and wetlands as an entire network and not as a piecemeal thing, which they really were against, I think they're gonna be much happier with us. To, we didn't even try to do it once, because they were like, you can do it once.
yeah. once, yeah.
We were like, well, okay, I'm just not even gonna do it,
I think that's a good idea to have a long-term vision plan, so.
Mhm.
I mean, whoever, ends up, working there and, enacting this is gonna benefit from having this plan, so.
Yeah, for sure. All right, great. Well, if there's no further questions,
That sounds good. I think, I had a quick look through the management plan. I think what you're talking about generally fits in. It's all about, rerouting trails where needed. And I think it makes trails less steep is presumably going to be good for erosion. All those sorts of things.
so do you think it'll work out to just have our committee go to the,
I think
First of all,
let's go to the committee. I think it might be good to have a follow-up meeting as well. Just so we can go through it once we've got the idea, but I think going to the meetings would be great, because not only do you get a chance to say what you think should be in the plan, you also get to hear what everyone else thinks as well.
Yeah.
Should be good. I'll go to one of them. Probably not the first one, but maybe
yeah, right, in February, maybe the February meeting, you can give an update to the committee.
Yes,
Go from there, so.
absolutely. And I think the timing is right, so that we'll have that meeting and then this meeting will happen.
Yeah, it
A few
won't
days
just
later,
be a few days later, yeah.
So we've got next meeting is 2 days after your first event, and then February meeting will be about 2 weeks after your last event.
Okay, maybe we can just.
So
Make
you
sure
might
we-
not have it fully drawn up by then.
No, we
Yeah.
won't. Are you being sarcastic? Sorry, that flew right over my head.
Broadly what it's gonna entail.
Well, I mean, one more piece of detail that you should know about this is that there is a lot of wetlands delineation information gathering that we are in the process of. And so I mean, really, they're essentially going everywhere that we said, we wanna maybe make a change there. So they're really trying to find everything and so that when we apply for these permits, we're not, that all of that information is included in them.
No, that'd be good to know where all those spots are.
And those, you know, the initial wetlands information that you can get from the Vermont A&R Atlas, and then is not complete.
Right.
And since then, so we had Jeremy Matowski and his group did the area around the house, right?
Yeah.
And just on the other side of the road. And so that's getting updated too right now. So we will be able to reuse that for this process.
Excellent. Good, looking forward to it, that meeting, so. Okay, well, and I think you're up again with just the outdoor center updates.
Okay, well, we've switched gears and we're in winter now. We have some snow, we hope. We've groomed, and we're officially open for skiing, fat biking, and snowshoeing, and sledding. We've had several people come out sledding already. And we did finish up the fall strong and had a great end of the season, except for, again, we had to cancel 3 events in a row.
Yeah, it was brutal.
Yeah, and all because of rain.
Rain.
Yeah, so this year we canceled more events than we've ever canceled, I think, combined.
And it was
You know,
raining
quite a
probably.
long time. I mean, it's been a long history. We guys probably canceled a few things, but there were, it was dramatic how many we had to cancel this year. So that was impactful to a lot of things. You know, we had, I thought a really great event scheduled for October, beginning of October, our community appreciation event. And so that was a hard one. We had awards to give out to people and we did give them out, but it's not quite the same as when.
Saw it on the Facebook page or
Yeah.
website or something,
But beyond that, we're really working hard right now on VORAC grant applications. So if you're not familiar, that's the Vermont Outdoor Recreation Economic Coalition or Collaborative. I forget what this is. And that is state government funded. I believe the pot right now is 6 million that they are offering. And there are 4 tracks that are available. We are applying for 2 of them. Implementation track, so that is the building side of it, and that's the 3 trails that we just listed. And so we're trying to get funding for that rebuild for those 3. And then the other one we're doing is a planning grant for a new building. So we've been working with the Vermont Land Trust, the town, and several other partners to work on that grant and make sure that goes through too.
So we get the monies and then start being able to design and figure out where to go.
Right.
From there.
And with all due respect to our hosts and the long-term renters, we love where we are, but we know that, that we have to at some point do that.
Mhm.
So.
Then it's a very lovely space and it's been outgrown now for 20 years.
Wow.
Severely limiting, abilities for Catamount. By the way, with the snow, John and Amanda ruined the sledding hill now, much better than in recent years. And already a bunch of Wilson sledders are up there, including an outstanding snow person down at the bottom of the hill.
We got a new one.
I blame all snowmen on Andy.
Keeps after being rebuilt, right?
Okay.
Yeah, that's right. As long as there's snow. Good, well, we'll have to get that, on the Catamount Community Forest page, Facebook page. That'd be good to put that sledding is happening. For folks.
We have
Right now.
so we have a monthly sledding party now too.
Yeah, the first
Oh, okay.
Saturday of every month, I'll be over there with s'mores fixins and
Oh.
scavenger hunts, and if we
fire.
get enough people, we'll
Oh,
have,
wonderful.
like snow creature contests, but sledding
Hmm.
hills there. I actually posted these on Facebook as well, and one of them has over, I think, 1,000 interested.
Oh, wow, oh my
Wow.
gosh, 1,000.
This is the biggest interest I've seen on any of our events, so sledding is the one.
It's one of the best sledding hills in the state. I mean, it's safe, it's, you know,
It's safe, yeah.
I mean,
And you have a place to park and,
Yeah.
yeah. so-
it's got great views. I mean, it's really quite a spot. And, so, speaking of our events, we've put our entire event schedule up for the new year now. And we're working on it, but it is.
We're at April.
In April, it's all right. We've decided to go further out with that and really try to promote things, you know, many months in advance and let people know. And you can see how, you know, one post may actually have a very big effect. So, but you know, it has to live for a little while in order to, you know, kind of build that momentum. So we're trying to be out ahead on that. So speaking of getting out ahead, we are 6 weeks from when we start selling summer camps.
Wow, but people do start thinking about where they're gonna.
They're
send
already
their
for
kids.
sale for a lot of places are already open and for sale.
Mhm.
So, but we finalized our schedule with Little Bellas, who we share space with, so they have a number of, you know, campers, and so we have to balance how many we have indoor space for Thunder.
Oh, right.
So that's where we grew out of the. We are limited to how many kids we can have because of the amount of space that we have to put them in if there's Thunder.
If there's somebody.
And we balance that with Little Bellas when they're there, so that they also have space to come into.
Hmm.
So they're not like, oh, sorry.
Yeah,
can't
good
come in."
idea, right?
No, we gotta take care of everybody, so, we are deep in summer planning already, even though it's barely winter.
We're just barely out to winter. Good,
That's our update.
great, no, it's all great things, that's wonderful. We just need the snow.
It's
Just stick around.
here, yeah, you know,
Yeah.
it doesn't
There's
look
more
great.
out here than there is in Burlington, that's
Yeah.
for sure.
Right, yeah, we do have a little bit more. Well, good, all right, well, thank you so much for that. So the next on the agenda is other business and town forced events.
Oh, yeah, so there was just one, which Ethan emailed me about, which is not till March. Yeah, it's a small one again, he reached out to the, UVM Birding Club and to see whether they wanted to walk forest management area. So that'd be a Friday, so no one can read that.
And they
March
typically
29th.
come in a bus, right? They come in.
I think Ethan thinks it'd probably be
or
cars
vans
in this
something,
one.
yeah. Oh, cars.
5 to 7:30 then.
Yeah, so it's pretty small, but because it's a club, we thought they might put it out there, so we sort of lose control in about 10 minutes.
Is that gonna be dark?
So that's what I thought, and the sunset is at 7:17.
Okay,
Yeah,
there you
yeah,
go.
no,
March.
He's got some ducks walking there. The only challenge that I see to that is that it might be mud season. And we might ask him to not walk on the trails.
Yeah.
You know, if Sandman's is hard enough, we're happy to let him do that, but I wouldn't want him, you know, necessarily walking, you know, on the smaller trails.
Yeah.
But we can
Yeah,
address that as we get
just-
closer. We're not gonna know until a few days before.
Yeah, who knows? And yeah, I'm sure he'll keep an eye on it. Good, yeah, and I don't think we haven't heard anything from the library doing
No,
any events and.
I'll probably remind them that you need to check in advance.
Yeah.
Because it was
Yeah.
ages ago that I talked to them about it.
Right. Okay, good, yeah, I don't foresee anything happening this winter. Pretty quiet, now that the forest management's done, I think that's gonna be a lot quieter.
We thought it was quiet until Velco showed up today. I didn't make any phone calls, even though I was like, oh my God, why did they do this to us?
I hope they're done, I mean, they must be now, so.
I will make the phone call tomorrow and ask the question.
Yeah, Devin, just the little miscommunication on the I mean, they got there earlier than they thought.
Yeah, with the
Right,
machines.
like, yeah.
Yeah, and then just a random pile of guys today with chainsaws and
Yeah,
four-wheelers.
oh gosh, yeah. You never know. All right, well, I'm sure Devin will hopefully know what was going on.
I have a quick, event question.
Sure.
The, webpage that I sent your way for our annual plan is no news good news on that? Are you still working on that?
So, yeah, we're working on that. I mean, I guess like your webpage is up to you,
Okay.
really.
In that case, it's working.
Yeah.
Right, no news is good news. Okay, so let's see, oh, invasive, update, so. So
I left this on because we put it on as a standing item, but I guess
yeah,
invasives are not really gonna be featuring much in the next few months.
no, so just Velco
It's,
Yeah.
went in.
it's relatively hard to manage them in the winter, right? I mean,
Well, I went and helped Winooski Valley District Tuesday, and they were out there we were out there with weed wrenches but this is the Delta, Delta Park. So there really was no snow but they were pulling up stuff as it wasn't frozen, so.
One thing is that Ethan is gonna come to the next, meeting, because he wants to, ask committee whether they've released some funding from the stewardship fund to do like an invasive plan. For a couple of $1,000, basically try and get a more thought through and coordinated approach to how we deal with invasives on the property. So he's gonna ask at the next meeting, so that rather than us just relying on doing it in a little bit more of an ad hoc way, or try and get some strategy.
Yeah, I think it would be nice to have a plan and to really, he's identified some areas that are worse than others, but it would be, between getting the scouts volunteering and having volunteers, going out, and Chapin and Laura going out, it would be nice to kind of have a cohesive plan, because there's plenty to do out there.
It's something I think we would benefit from townwide, but
Right, so good, would be a good
well,
moment.
we spend all our time at Catamount doing invasives and we don't do it anywhere else.
Right,
So
the master naturalists were starting on that.
that's what.
is that by design?
It's because people love Catamount more than any of our other places, I think.
Yeah.
I keep saying, do you guys want to do something in Mock Pond? Need to get attention. But the scouts did do something in Mock Pond this year, actually, I tell you what.
But the scout event went really well, I got out there and flagged a bunch of buckthorn, and they just got out there, and I mean, my goodness, there was 15 of the scouts, and they just went out there, saws were going, and the kids were, piling brush, and so, yeah, good portion of it done. And then Velco, that looks great. I mean, as far as I can see, I haven't really gone out other than just like I'm looking out of the road, but looks like they left the native shrubs. And they kind of meandered around and took out the ones that they'd sprayed. Is that sort of what you saw?
Yeah, I mean, it definitely, makes it easier to plan in the power line right now. It's pretty wide open.
It is.
I did bring up one question that we had. I know in the past they have paid for the extra trees that they cut down. And I know that you guys probably are not pursuing that. Can we? They came today and impacted our grooming. And
They drive their trucks all over it. don't they?
yeah, I mean, it's not a huge amount of money, but if we can, ask them for some help because they went and did some damage, that would be nice. I don't know. if
Oh,
that's-
did they, or you're just saying
Oh,
what they did?
no, they.
Oh, to the
definitely-
snow, but not to the.
No, I don't, well, I haven't been out. I don't know how soft it was in those, wet areas up there, and I don't know where they drove or whether they just walked.
Sure.
I mean, I'm not totally sure, but they definitely impacted our grooming, which impacts our revenue.
Hmm.
Because, people come and we say, oh yeah, it's all groomed, and they get there and it's just this mass, I mean, it's kind of frustrating, so.
I guess we'd have to work a little bit more on communication and get Devin.
Yeah, and
into the
we're
conversation.
hosting an event tonight on Fat Bites, which
Oh,
we do every week.
uh,
And that was the way they were going out. We had groomed it for them.
right, okay.
And then we show up and we're like, okay, I guess they're gonna have some messy riding
Yeah.
first half a mile here, so.
Okay, well, we'll try to see if we can't get some, talk with Devin maybe and get contact with her, because she would be the one the contact person. Or
She
it was another
is
guy.
our contact person, yeah.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
had the other guy showed up as well.
That's true.
Devin seems to be their liaison.
Okay, well, we'll try to chat with her and find out what scoop was. So. Okay, and so yeah, that's all for invasives, and then next on the agenda is Williston 2050.
I've already said what I was gonna say about that before the meeting, but it's just to say thanks to everyone on the committee for attending those events. They went
Very
really
fun.
well,
Yeah, very
Yeah.
fun event.
Yeah,
and we got a lot of good feedback.
now you have to consolidate all that. I mean, that was so much information.
Yeah, there was a
especially-
lot, but there was some distinct themes. A lot of people want the same stuff. You got, I mean, the three big, I'd say the biggest topics were probably affordable housing, housing affordability. That came up a lot. Not just in the housing section, you know, we'd be talking about economy and jobs and.
People like, oh, can't move here,
Yeah,
can't,
people are like, well,
can't.
affordable housing is the most important thing to make that happen. And bike ped connectivity. Everyone wants to cycle and walk around town. And I think they're frustrated at the lack of connection in some cases. So that's something that is very important to people. And then some stuff about conservation. I think people, these are my words, but I think people really appreciate the town's sort of town planning strategy. Obviously no one says that because they're not as boring as me, but I think people appreciate.
Wilson's the best town planning, I just can't, I can't.
So people appreciate being able to go to like the rural area, but then have everything they need in town and have somewhere nice to live. I think that's something that people really value.
Good, no, I thought it was great.
Yeah.
And that, Wild About Williston was a good event. Jimmy Lucy showed up, that was sort of tied in, sort of all together. Okay, so.
And-
Anybody have anything else that they would like to bring up?
I will be away from the area for the next 2 months. But I
Oh.
will, but I have. I'll be zooming in for the meetings.
Congratulations,
If
I hope.
Sounds good.
Yeah, and if I ever get healthy, I'll actually be in a meeting, which is why I'm on Zoom now. I've been ill for 8 weeks, so.
Oh, oh
yeah.
no.
I
Bummer.
added COVID to the rest of the things I had, so
Nice.
you don't want me in person right now, so.
Are you going somewhere warm?
Oh, yeah, we're going to South Carolina, the first of the year, yeah, for 2
Good
months.
for you, yeah, that'll probably make it easier to recoup, so. Okay, well, if there's no further other topics, make a motion to adjourn,
I second that,
okay? All right, thank you very much for
All right.
everybody attending.
all right,
See
thank you,
then.
happy
See you in a
holidays,
month.
everybody.
Yep, feel better soon, thanks. All right, great, you were busy tonight. You
So when I was
guys
on
had a lot.
planning commission, this person say, well, I'm gonna be gone for